Alright, welcome back. It's me again, it's Felt, and we're in another magic video. I don't know when this is going up, this will go up at some point, but this is the deck I've been experimenting with, and I think I made it work. I was playing with it on stream the other night, and I realized that I was losing in some really unfortunate ways, more or less just losing in a lack of low-level monsters, a lack of exiles, and I think I found a way around that. But if you don't know what this deck is, let's start there. It is a black-white control deck for the most part. The base is control. So we got Vanishing Verses, we got Fractures, we got Piercing Lights and Portable Holes, we have Radiant Grace, and we have Shambling Ghast, so I can summon my sideboard here, which all either helps with control or just keeps me alive and running. But the main selling point is Acererak the Arclich. Arclich? I think it's Arclich. But it's a dungeon-based deck, but he is the cornerstone of it. So in case you don't know this card, I'll do a quick rundown of why it's so good for dungeon delving decks. So when he enters, if you haven't completed his personal tomb, which is the Tomb of Annihilation here, very short tomb, so if you want to get him out on field, you can very quickly go through it. It's just dangerous and hurtful to you. But you can go through Tomb of Annihilation if you want to get him out on field. You have to finish the tomb to make him playable as a unit. However, here's the thing. If you summon him to the field, you haven't finished his tomb, he goes straight back to your hand. But you can play him again. Which is where Dungeon of the Mad Mage comes into the picture. The whole point of this deck is to basically hold on until mid-game. Get, like, I don't know. I'd say probably like 9 plus lands out on field. Get a bit of a powerhouse like Fuja, maybe a Nadar, maybe Triumphant Adventurer so they're afraid to attack into you, maybe some Eye Twitches and Shambling Ghasts to block for you. The idea is to get like 6 to 9 lands out and then like triple play Acererak every turn going through the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. So every turn you are essentially gaining life, scrying, making treasure tokens or making enemies unable to attack, maybe creating 1/1 skeletons, exiling cards that you can play on that same turn, scrying more, or maybe even drawing and playing cards for free. It's very, very solitaire because you consistently just pick him up, play him down. You have to pick him back up if you haven't finished his dungeon, play him back down in the same exact turn to keep going through Dungeon of the Mad Mage. It's really good for starting to overwhelm your opponent and get a ton of stuff out on field. Now, for when you're getting overwhelmed, you have a few cards for that. That's the point of stuff like Luminarch Aspirant to just start buffing up your weaker units. Stuff like Radiant Grace, which can give your Triumphant Adventurer who has Death Touch, it can give them... I forgot the term now. Hang on. Vigilance. It can give them Vigilance, so they never get tapped when they attack. So every turn they're attacking and venturing through the dungeon and they don't get tapped so they can still block as a Death Touch unit. And if that thing ever does get killed, you get Radiant Restraints, which means they can never just straight play a card untapped. They have to have it tapped when they come in. Now sure, they can destroy enchantments and such, yada yada yada. But that's the whole idea of this card comboing with Triumphant Adventurer. You also just have Nadar, who's just a solid Vigilance unit if you complete Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which is the one I suggest you go through first, by the way. You can just be adding +1/+1 to all your creatures. You have stuff like Precipitous Drop to apply -2/-2 in the early game, and -5/-5 when you get past Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Skyclave Shadowcats here just have a beefier card, as is Icing Death. If I was to get more cards that I needed, personally, like maybe I'd trade these guys out for more Doomskars, maybe an extra Fuja. We also have Closing Statement, which is an incredibly powerful card for keeping aggro decks under control. You will just destroy a creature or planeswalker, and you add 1/1 counters to your cards. It's really good for buffing up Triumphant Adventurer, so that he can survive hits and still be a Death Touch user. It can be really good on Nadar, because he's also vigilant. You could even throw those counters onto Skyclave Shadowcat, or throw them onto your Wimpier, Ghast and Eye Twitch, so that Shadowcat can sack them to let you draw more cards. I'd say the odd cards out in this deck at the moment are probably Icing Death and Fuja. Fuja has tons of potential to fit into this deck, and the reason that they're still here is because they're a flyer with lifelink who can gain tokens, and because of the decent amount of spells you have between Fracture, Deadly Dispute, Vanishing Verse, anything you're learning with Eye Twitch, they can be very useful. However, they're mostly here because they've saved my runs a few times. I just needed a flyer to block with. I pulled them. They saved me by having their lifelink. It's just a useful card. If you want to shift more towards playing spells, they're even more powerful to let you mill through your deck a bit. Kind of self-mill a tad, but gets more stuff into your hands. I think this deck is really useful and powerful. Piercing Light could probably go. It's a good, like, one cost, lets you scry. Portable Hole's good for dealing with, like, mono green aggro where they try and play the werewolf card that's 2/2. Sorry, it's 3/3, but it's 2 green cost. Because it's 2 cost, Portable Hole gets rid of it. Same for Trelasara from the white-green life gain deck. My sideboard is Environmental Sciences, Reduced to Memory, which is useful for both exiling super powerful cards from your opponent and cards that are going to die on your side, by the way. Be careful about using it on Eyetwitch or Shambling Ghast. Exiled means they don't die. That's kind of common sense, but I thought I'd mention it. Necrotic Fumes is just good to exile stuff. Inkling Summons are just you want some more flyers to maybe block with or go over the top with. Expanded Anatomy is good to add blockers on stuff. It can also give something like Skycliff Shadowcat Vigilance. Introduction to Annihilation is just a good I need to kill something card. We have a couple of those in the deck. I don't own this card, but this is one of the lands that I'm considering adding when I craft it later. Cave of the Frost Dragon fits in really well. Dungeon Descent is a good land just because it's all types, and eventually when you get legendaries on the field, like maybe Firja, like maybe the, well, Nadar never gets tapped, but maybe the Arclic gets on field. Any of your legendaries can be untapped to venture into the dungeon. It's 4 costs, it's kind of weird. It's probably not your best bet, but if you're like still trying to get through the dungeons quickly and you have Firja on field and you're attacking with her, you can untap them with this. I would be using more Shattered Sanctums and Shine. Oh God, I apologize. So many S's, it really trips up my tongue. Shattered Sanctums and Shine Shadow Snarls are really good lands for this deck, as is the Bright Climb, Grim Climb Pathways. I'd be using more of these 3 here, except I don't have them. Honestly, if I could, I would run 4 of this, 4 of this, 4 of this. And I'd probably run 16 total lands that are all double uses, and then my last 4 would probably be like 2 plains, 2 swamps. But technically Shine Shadow Snarl, you need to reveal lands, but like I would personally just treat it like Sinkhole and just let them enter tapped. Well, that was a long like 7.5 minute video for no reason. Honestly though, I'd say the real kicker of the deck is either Nadar, which is why I have 4 of them so I can draw them faster and get them out. But the Arclic is probably the hard carry because of the way that you can spam play him over and over and over again. And just really blaze through dungeons. That does lead to an interesting playstyle, though, of you can finish Tomb of Annihilation if you want a Sararak out on the field, summoning 2/2 black zombies. Or, like I said, my preference is spamming Dungeon of the Mad Mage. If you really just want to get through a dungeon quickly, though, to make cards like the Cloister Gargoyle have flying, or to make Nadar give the 1/1 tokens, Phandelver is probably your best middle ground. It doesn't do as many problems for you. It's scry, treasure tokens. Treasure tokens are goblins, counters. You can gain a little bit of life. Enemies just have minus stuff, and then you draw cards. It can be a really fast dungeon that's safe to go through. Tomb of Annihilation, like I said, it's mostly just for when you want to finally play a Sararak and get him out. I've repeated myself a lot, but Doomscar is just here as an oh shit button, as a full eject. As a moment of, oh, I don't think I can deal with what's happening on field right now, I just need to wipe it off. Say they're running like a monster creation deck or something like that. Maybe a ranger class, or an Esca's Chariot, where they just have like 12 tokens out. You can full eject with Doomscar and reset to neutral, and maybe use Vanishing Verse or Fracture to get that Esca's off the field. It has pretty good answers to most of the meta that I've run into lately. I don't think it's perfect yet. I think I need to tighten it down into a more succinct deck, but I think at its current core idea, core cards like the Gargoyle, Nadar, and Sararak, and having better cards up here like Closing Statement and Firja. I still don't know if I'm saying her name right, I apologize. But having cards like that all shoved together I think works really, really well. And yeah, that's it. That's going to be the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out. Hope you enjoyed me rambling about Magic again, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.